Bruce McDermott, you are up next.
Yes, well, there have been a lot of references to Japan. Here's another one. This is based on a news story that I saw on television that came from Japan about a fellow who lost his wife and put a phone booth out in his backyard to discuss with her the things that go on every day with him. And before he knew it, as strange as that seems, his neighbors were queuing up to do the same thing, to talk to people that they had lost. So this is called A Phone Call Away. I rescued an old junked phone booth. It's in my backyard out of view under our red maple tree. The tree was planted there many years ago. The landscape company we hired assured us it was a dwarf and it would never get higher than 20 feet. I think it's at least 40 feet now. Still, it is beautiful and I've grown accustomed to it. The phone booth complements the alizarin red leaves of the tree. The gypsy moth caterpillars infested it this year. I learned their habits, stood a vigil. It helped a bit. But yes, I ramble on, I know. The booth has no telephone line, you say. That is perfectly true. Telephone lines are useless with the dead. I just need a place to sit and chat with her. We communicate on the winds. She was taken from me by an unseen monster, a virus that consumed her. Am I wasting my time, you ask? Of course not. Conversations can be a bit one-sided, but when we are grief-stricken, we should be free to do what we must to improvise and seek consolation from the pain of survival. And we ask, why are we left alone like this? I tried praying, but I choked on that question. The phone booth is better. It doesn't leave me terrified. The path is unchangeable, but tangible here. The future is resolving itself somewhere. I don't trouble myself with it any longer. I can find some measure of peace. She is only a phone call away. Thank you. This is called Wicked Windows. I heard the drone of God today. It's a fine old church with windows of yellow, blue, and green stained glass. All the way from Czechoslovakia, somebody said. The panes are filled with energetic swirls of those colors, like ocean waves roiled in a fantastic sea. They are completely opaque to the world outside, and a bit disconcerting as I sit there in a pew. I suppose a passerby must think it odd as well. No hint of what is going on in there. Maybe God as well, if he took the trouble and tried to peer in. Parishioners stand to tell of concerns they have. Fear, loss, and tribulation roil around the sanctuary until a hymn finally lays the litany of trauma to rest. I listen with an unease, holding my breath, not because of anything I have heard, but because I cannot see out of these windows, these beautifully fashioned, wicked windows. And thank you. One more, last one. This is called The Secret. He was short and dark with leathery skin. Much later, I saw photographs of the Basques from the French-Spanish border. He looked like that. He was a Canuck and a carpenter and a farmer. I had little interaction with him, though he was my grandfather. He didn't spend any time with any of his grandchildren. I thought little of it at 7 years old. There were plenty of things to occupy my attention on visits. There was the drone of airplanes flying low over the house on their landing approach to Hartford's Bradley Field. There were used up hulks of ancient rust-filled farm machines to be sat upon and coaxed into a pretend life of utility again. But one very hot August day, he asked me to accompany him. Together we entered the old cellar beneath the white asbestos shingled farmhouse. While I sat on an old orange crate in the cellar's corner, he turned to me and put his forefinger to his lips. Carefully, he removed the stone from the north-facing wall and pulled a flat brown bottle hidden in a space there. It held a rich, dark liquid, and he took a sip and then another until he had finished half the bottle. At last he said, "Now don't tell your grandmother. I don't recall another time that I ever spent with him. Why he took me into his confidence that one day has been a question never quite answered. Now he and their children have long since passed away, and all these many years later, I realize I never did confide his secret to anyone. It was the only gift he ever gave me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.